Welcome back, another episode. After being turned away from yet another office gathering, Frasier acknowledges in the opening scene of episode 5 of the Frasier Reboot that he finds it difficult to fit in at Harvard. Alan tries to console him, but when Olivia waltzes in gushing about being invited to the Founders Society's meeting, he soon discovers that his Oxford pal is pulling his leg to make him feel better. Frasier should not be in too much trouble because she is accustomed to feeling uncomfortable. It's disheartening that he feels alone at Harvard, the institution where he ought to feel like he belongs, as the snobbish therapist expressed. In Frasier episode 5, Alan, Olivia, and Frasier attend their first Harvard function. Frasier eventually receives an invitation to the Founders Society event, which thrills Olivia and Alan as well. In an attempt to become the psychology department's representative, the group presents themselves in the best possible light in order to get entry into the group. Unfortunately for them, only 2 spots are available, therefore, they will have to leave out one member of their group. After what seems like a strong team effort, Olivia is betrayed by Alan and Frasier. They have no idea that she is aware of their schemes and takes independent action to secure her place in the selected group. Left alone at home, expecting a quiet night in, Freddy watches Frasier and his Harvard pals play office politics. However, when David unexpectedly shows up and tries to connect with his cousin, things don't go as planned. The son of Niles and Daphne remains in his uncle's apartment because he struggles to interpret social cues. The cousins are actually spending time together for the first time. David behaves more like a high school student than a college student, especially when it comes to socializing. His cousin is caught off guard when, in an unexpected turn of events, he asks Freddy about possibly taking Eve out on a date. But Freddy ends up letting it happen because he doesn't want to be accused of having affections for Eve, and he knows she won't give David a chance. As it turns out, Frasier's kid was right all along. David lacks courtship skills. In Frasier episode 5, Freddy teaches David how to pick up girls. Startled by David's lack of confidence while approaching girls, Freddy decides to teach him how to play the game. It shouldn't come as a surprise that Freddy has more experience in a romantic environment than David, even though the Frasier remake hasn't really depicted him in one. Freddy exudes confidence in his ability to pick up women, and he firmly believes that his background as a firefighter aids in this area. Although Eve senses that Freddy is bragging, she is not as taken by his skills as David is. Their entire conversation is funny as Freddy becomes more and more angry at his cousin's actions. Curiously, the scene also includes fresh allusions to his parents, addressing their son's earlier jab over Niles and Daphne being absent from the Frasier revival. First, much like his father did with his mother, David asks if he can smell Eve's hair. Furthermore, he falsely asserts that his father is excellent with girls. In Frasier, David gets a girlfriend. Nothing much comes of Freddy's attempt to help his cousin become more comfortable approaching girls. David is still a social misfit. So, episode 5 exposes him to actual situations rather than keeping him in a fictitious setting. After arriving at Mahoney's, the new bar for the Frasier relaunch, the 3 of them start talking to a fellow Harvard student. David surprises everyone by doing so. Even more intriguingly, they immediately click and leave the pub together, much to Eve's and Freddy's surprise. But as of right now, it's unclear if their connection will endure. Are there feelings between Freddy and Eve? Freddy and Eve were introduced in the Frasier Reboot pilot as friends who came together after losing a loved one. Freddy took on the role of taking care of his girlfriend and son in an attempt to atone for the death of his close friend. Nevertheless, the 5th episode of the Frasier Reboot raises the possibility that the two could have a romantic future. For example, when David questions his cousin about Eve, Freddy replies that nothing can happen between them due to their circumstances. He doesn't directly say that he doesn't have any sentiments towards her. Alan and Frasier discuss some of their past problems from Frasier. Alan has only shown infrequently in the Frasier remake, despite being billed as the show's lone friend. In episode 5, the focus shifts to the bond between the 2 characters. Frasier asks Alan to give in to him while the argument over who should occupy the final seat in the Founders Society rages on. Before they reunited in Oxford, he talks about how his British friend owed him for constantly getting him into problems when they were together. Alan retracts his assertion, but their discussion proceeds into the building's basement, where things get more serious. However, in the end, Frasier is admitted to the Founders Society. For more, subscribe.